Republicans call for change, arguing Illinois is headed in the wrong direction. They say it's because of J.B. Pritzker and his policies. It's Republican Day at the Illinois State Fair. Let's get to the point.
From Chicago's very own, with WGN political editor Tahman Bradley, this is The Point.
Good evening. Republicans say 8 years of J.B. Pritzker is enough. And for the second straight election, they've nominated Darren Bailey to challenge him. Bailey says he's learned from his 12-point loss to Pritzker 4 years ago. He's going to stay on message and talk about the issues that matter most to voters, even as Pritzker spins big to knock him off course. Earlier, Republicans came to the Illinois State Fairgrounds to rally their troops.
What we're up against is it's common sense versus communism. It really is, folks.
Democrats may have the money, they may have the map, but they don't own the voters.
We know the Democrats are going to spend not tens, but hundreds of millions of dollars to distort their own economic message, their own failed economic policies that have Illinois lagging, trailing the rest of this great country.
A downstate farmer turned politician, Darren Bailey is the underdog in the race. Republican donors and moderates remain suspicious. Earlier, we caught up with the candidate. Senator, good to see you. Is the GOP united and ready for the fall campaign?
We're getting there. I think so. The GOP, one thing they're fired up. So I think we use this time to unite, to learn that we must work together regardless of the petty differences that many of us have, because at the end of the day, that is the only way we're going to win this election this fall, by being united and getting out and fighting together.
What's the issue? Why are you not united? I mean, Republicans don't support J.B. Pritzker.
Well, for years, we've just simply had a lack of leadership with the party, and I think that's the biggest issue. And I think that, we're trying. We're electing new leaders. I think we're making our way there. So I look forward to, as governor, I will continue to unite and bring us together.
What do you say to Republicans who think this all feels familiar? It feels like 4 years ago and that you're going to lose big.
Well, the reason we lost 4 years ago was the lack of turnout. I mean, it was a low turnout in a midterm. So we've got, the temperature all across Illinois, and especially in your neighborhood up in Chicago, it is completely different than it was 4 years ago. People are fed up. So we take that frustration and we turn it into votes. And that's one thing that I'm seeing this time that I did not witness completely 4 years ago, this united front, top to bottom, everybody out working the streets, knocking on doors, spreading the message, reminding people that this mess that we live in, JB owns it.
Already, Pritzker's putting money behind the messaging that you're too extreme. How are you not extreme?
Pritzker's a coward because he doesn't want to defend his message and his failed policies. How is he not extreme with making Illinois too damn expensive to live in? That's what I'm hearing all over the state. How is that not extreme, to have the highest property tax in the nation? How is it not extreme that a felon winds up in his backyard with an ankle monitor on? How is it not extreme that education in Illinois is failing our children? All of that, J.B. Pritzker owns because he created it.
There are also these silly things that the campaign is doing. For example, at the state fair here today, they're having dinosaurs show up. They say that at the school that you founded, there's curriculum that teaches that dinosaurs and man walked the earth at the same time. Of course, there's 65 million year difference. How do you respond and interact where Pritzker has $65 million that he can spend on efforts like that?
Well, I'll simply ask him, was he there, number one, because I think every day we're learning wonderful things about history in the past, but first and foremost,
but dinosaurs and men were,
he's going to use his $65 million to distort the truth.
But dinosaurs and men did not walk the earth at the same time, right?
Were you there?
I wasn't there, but that's what the science says, though. That's settled, right?
I wasn't there. So I think it's very important to realize that he's going to continue to dig. He's going to continue to find anything that he can to smear, to distort from what he is actually doing, from what he has done That's what this $65 million is for. The $65 million is there because he realizes people are fed up and they've had enough. They can't afford to live here. Everyone is considering moving. Everyone knows someone that has left Illinois. Everyone is filling up at the fuel pump. I would love to ask J.B. Pritzker when the last time he actually filled his car up or even drove himself. J.B. Pritzker does not live in the same realm as you or I or anybody else in this state.
So there are schools across Illinois that are not funded to the level required under law, the evidence-based funding law. Is there revenue that would be acceptable to you to get money to those schools that need it?
Money is not always the answer. It is for J.B. Pritzker because he has an unlimited amount. So when he has a problem with his personal life, he throws more money at it. A billionaire gets elected to the state of Illinois and thinks that the answer to every problem is more money. No, local control, local can say letting teachers, letting parents, letting school boards do their job and decide how they want their children educated. More money's proven this failure. We've continued to throw more money at the problem over the last several years, and it's not fixing anything. We need to fix it by developing curriculum, by developing a state board of education, by giving power back to the parents, to the teachers, to the school boards to decide how they want their children educated.
Across the board in general, does Illinois need more revenue? I mean, it is a time of austerity. The federal government has made cuts and has withheld money from the state of Illinois. Do you want more revenue?
Illinois will have more revenue when we start attracting business back to Illinois, when we give people relief at the gas pump, when we give people relief on their property taxes, when we stop this bleeding of people leaving the state of Illinois. That's the answer. And right now, that's not happening. I mean, good grief, the Chicago Bears are leaving Illinois. That is J.B. Pritzker's, his capstone to his governorship is losing the Bears. That's money that's leaving Illinois, making it more difficult for every one of us here in Illinois. The answer is to save Illinois, is to generate the revenue from business coming back here, giving people the freedom. J.B. Pritzker's got a billboard truck driving around Springfield with a website, dangerousdarrenbailey.com on it. That truck should be driving around Springfield, giving notice to the new coffee shop, the new business, the new boutique, some other store. That's the purpose of these trucks. But instead, they don't have that here because businesses are closing here in Springfield. They're closing in southern Illinois. 2 restaurants just closed at the casino down in Herrin. That's the Illinois story.
Let me ask you about the Bears, which you raised. If it required taxpayer money to help them build the stadium or a massive property tax break, would you support that in order to keep them in Illinois?
So the big problem in Illinois is the fact that they're people, the people who have interest in, like the Safety Act. Police were never invited into these walls here to talk about the Safety Act. The Bears, we already know that when Pritzker and the General Assembly leaders met to talk, they formulated a plan without bringing the Bears to the table. We don't even know what they need or what they want. What we do know is that Indiana is sitting on a $5 billion surplus, and we're setting, we've been told for the last 8 years our budgets are balanced when they're not, because the debt, $1.5 billion, and this year $300 million's pushed over to pension debt. That's what we know. So how did Indiana how is Indiana's property tax capped at 1%? And they're thriving. Something is very wrong there.
One last thing I want to ask you, just because the campaign is heating up now. What's going to be different this time? How do you win this time?
Well, the difference is what we're doing. We're staying on message. Affordability, safety, and education. I am not, and I will not, focus on anything that divides us, because if we focus on what divides us, we're not going to get anything done when I get elected. Everyone across this state, every district, every community, every home are finding it too difficult to pay their bills and to be able to live here in Illinois financially. Everyone's frustrated and concerned about this safety situation because they're seeing things happen in real time. Everyone understands and knows that schools on average across Illinois are failing our future. That's what we're focused on. That's what everyone that gets elected here, every state representative, every state senator, is going to have to answer to when we convene back into session next January.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're back with more in 60 seconds.
insurance.
The state fair offered a chance for Republicans to show off their statewide candidates for office. Democrats currently hold every statewide elected office. Here's a little bit of what some of the candidates had to say.
We want to make sure that every driver that gets behind the wheel of a car can read the rules of the road. Yes. And secondly, we want to make sure that every CDL licensed driver is a citizen.
And I'm telling you, as your comptroller, we're going to open the books up. And you, the taxpayers. And you, the taxpayers, are going to get to know where your money's going. And if it's wasteful, I'm going to call it out. If it's fraud, we're going to put a stop to it. And let me tell you something. If agencies are spending money right, we're going to call that out too. Because we need to just tell it like it is.
We Republicans are far from perfect, but the other side is flat out crazy. And I have to add this, they're getting crazier.
Tonight, a tip of the hat to Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia. The Democratic National Committee says those three cities are finalists to host their 2028 presidential convention. That means Chicago is no longer being considered. City and state leaders were hoping for a repeat inside the United Center after what they thought was a successful 2024 convention. And it was seen as a possible advantage for Governor Pritzker amid his possible presidential ambitions. Chicago is still in the running to host the 2032 convention. And that is the point for this Thursday. I'm Tahman Bradley. There's more news coming up at 9 o'clock. And we'll see you again here from the State Fair tomorrow. Good night.